Good morning and welcome to the Break of Dawn newspapers review on 32 FM 94.9. I am DENIKE Adimowagro.
And I am Kenny Durutulu. We're bringing you all the headlines coming out of the pages of the newspapers this morning. I have with me the Guardian newspaper, the Premium Times, and the Nation newspaper. I'll bring you the headlines.
Starting from the Punch this morning, our first story says Naira may fall to 900 Naira per dollar from demand pressure. Away from that, lawyers now cut corners, not interested in proving cases. Balogun, first female Lagos AG. And INEC distributes election materials as Buhari meets security chiefs. President warns INEC security agents against failure. Hand over 12 billion Naira security equipment. Politicians stockpiling old notes to buy votes. EFCC chair. Away from that, address fuel Naira scarcity before election, ECOWAS tells Buhari. And 10 protesters remanded for vandalizing Rivers Bank. This election can go anyway. This is supposed to be an editorial. APC not afraid of Beaver's development. APC PCC director. Still on the Punch, more stories here. This one says court judgments are open to criticism. 19-year-old boy kills teen TV staff in Orlando. Naira crisis. Supreme Court shifts judgments. Scarcity persists. Like MKO Abiola, Tinubu will win in North. Swagger. And IG restricts movement on election day. Warns hoodlum. We'll take two more stories and move to another paper. ACF endorsing article means nothing to Tinubu. APC PCC. And finally, on the Punch this morning, EFCC arraigns NGO founder for 950 million Naira.
Over to the Guardian newspaper. Again, Supreme Court defers ruling on the Naira redesign to after election. Major story there. Elsewhere, elections. Buhari Osinbajo support group apologizes to Nigerians. Dumps APC for PDP. Court remands Rivers federal lawmaker to prison custody 48 hours to election. Is another one there. Your vote matters. Blinken tells Nigerians in video message. NNPP petitions NSA, DSS, others. Alleges siege to Kano campaign office. Elsewhere from the Guardian newspaper this morning, Rivers season of attacks as explosion rocks radio TV stations. Unemployment level still worrisome in Nigeria, says Pantami. Is also another headline there from the Guardian newspaper. We'll take one more. Group seeks decriminalization of attempted suicide cases.
And moving to the Vanguard, our first story here says governors under investigation for inciting utterances. IGP polls Tinubu, Obi, Atiku, Kwakwanso, others sign second peace accord. National Media Complaints Commission takes off with 9-man board. Naira crisis. Supreme Court fixes March 3 for judgment. Obaseki lacks powers to order my arrest. Oshomole. Buhari Osinbajo support groups apologize to Nigerians. Dump APC. Poor performance in agri industry sectors lower Nigeria's GDP. And in the sports corner, Nigeria 1-0 Costa Rica. Revelations Cup. Super Falcons salvage battered image. And more stories still on the Vanguard newspaper. Any woman that supports, away from that, fish out bandits saying elections will not hold. Umai urges vigilante. We're not supporting any candidate or party. EU mission. EFCC deploys for election. Releases hotlines for incidents reporting. Our achievements have reversed debt tides against us. Buhari improved chances of fair election with Electoral Act. Atedo Peter side. Polls why INEC won't transmit raw election figures. Yakubu. And one more story and we move to another one. Nigerians will be free from Buhari's 8 years of hardship. This is coming from the PDP.
All right, from the Premium Times newspaper this morning is an editorial that reads Navigating Nigeria's Elections, a Citizen's Guide. Elsewhere from the Premium Times this morning, Nigeria decides 2023, 18 political parties, presidential candidates sign second peace pact. Naira redesign, police investigating El Rufai, other governors for alleged incitement, IGP. Nigeria's GDP growth fell to 3.1% in 2022. That's coming from the NBS. Major presidential candidates' parties violate peace accord. Another headline there from the Premium Times. Supreme Court adjourns judgment on Naira redesign suit till after presidential election. Kwakwanso's campaign accuses Atiku of desperation, propaganda. Take some more stories. History will speak more of my stewardship. That's according to President Muhammadu Buhari. Osun Assembly Speaker alleges assassination attempt. Hunter discovers thousands of PVCs in a number of forest few days to elections. And lastly, Jigawa Governor loses own federal representative member to PDP.
To the Daily Post, 2023 presidency, Enugu AAC Dom Sowore endorses Peter Obi. EFCC arraigns young Alhaji for allegedly collecting 950 million naira for dollar swap. PDP lists reason APC Tinubu will lose presidential election. Presidential election, Atiku's victory will calm Southeast anger, ex-Imo governor. Champions League club told to sell 6 Liverpool players after defeat to Real Madrid, and that's on the sports corner. INEC silent over PVCs discovered in Inewi Forest. Indigents locate owners. Presidential election, Peter Obi's supporters storm INEC headquarters in Abuja, won against rigging vote buying. Nigeria decides 2023, CBN denies plans to shut down banking services. Vote to take yourselves out of poverty, PDP's Amuzu tells Nigerians. And still on the Daily Post, 2023 polls, Abia PDP Guba candidate faces fresh legal hurdles. And we'll take some more papers and go on our first commercial break. 2023, NLC endorses Peter Obi for president. Naira scarcity, we're investigating some governors, IGP. And finally, presidential election respects choice of voters, Buhari tells Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, and others.
All right, we'll take some messages. When we come back, we're taking your reactions and, of course, the analysis as well. Stay with us.
FM 94.9.
One man knows Nigeria, understands the people, and knows how to get Nigeria back on the road to growth. His capacity to navigate numerous industries towards growth and expansion is tested and trusted. No one needs to show Atiku Abubakar how to move Nigeria forward through challenges and unto greatness. He already has a sure plan. A strategist, an entrepreneur, and job creator. Atiku Abubakar knows Nigeria, knows our people, and knows the work. Atiku, for sure. PDP! Power for the people!
Sponsored by the PDP Presidential Campaign Council.
It's time to enjoy fast and reliable internet connection for less.
It's time to go big in the INT'L Home Broadband All-Time Mega Offer.
It's time to take advantage in the INT'L Home Broadband All-Time Mega Offer. Get a MiFi with up to 125 gigabyte bonus data for just 5,000 naira, or a router with up to 240 gigabyte bonus data for just 10,000 naira. Visit any INT'L shop or www.airtel.com.ng/HBB now.
INT'L, the smartphone network.
Why always Wura? Why does her quest to save her gold leave us hungry and broken?
Don't miss the new drama series, Wura, where everything is fair game. Sign up now at showmax.com.
Twisco to support their big dreams.
Twisco, power your dream.
My guy, waiting the path now. Oh, my shit, don't see the result. Guy, no be smart thing, no, but trust you, Nana. One parallel. How you doing now? Fine, I be fine. Now, so small house party go in place tomorrow. Jubo Kese go expect you for a year tomorrow.
What time?
6 p.m. sharp.
Why you the rush talk now?
See, my credit goes on finish. finish ni.
For this glue economy, now your credit they finish.
I beg send me another thing.
Gas speedometer. No need to rush your call. Buy Glow SIM, and when you submit your NIN, then go first sama you up to free 20,000 naira for voice and data. And when you can't even subscribe to Glow, 11 kobo per second. Now to the make calls for as low as 11 kobo per second to all networks. It is available to new and existing subscribers. Terms and conditions they shall.
Glow Unlimited.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
All right, it's great to have you back with us. 32 FM 94.9, filling the world with laughter. 18 minutes to 7 o'clock. And it's the break of dawn, the paper review. We have with us to give us a breakdown of the analysis of the stories in the newspapers this morning, Professor Oluojedokun. Good morning, sir.
Well, top of the day to you. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right.
All right, so I think we should start from the Supreme Court. The judgment for the Naira redesign suit has been adjourned till after the presidential election. It's now been fixed for Wednesday, 3rd March, for judgment on the suit. And the new notes are definitely here to stay. But some Nigerians have alleged that this verdict was expected, the adjournment in this case.
Well, I don't know that it was expected, but I thought one of the first things that would have happened was that they would have ruled on whether they have jurisdiction or not to hear the matter, because that's fundamental. Fundamental means, do I even have the authority? Do I have the competence? Do I have the ability to make judgment in the first place? You know, many people have argued that they do not even have the jurisdiction. And unfortunately, that has been kicked into the long grass. But what I think in simple terms, I've tried to explain it before. Many people rile against the federal government, saying that they've disobeyed a court order and that there's an ongoing disobedience to a court order. Right. And in fact, it wasn't resolved yesterday. But let me just explain it in simple terms. I have a matter against the University of Lagos. I decide to sue the federal government. The University of Lagos is not joined as a party. And then the court gives an order to the federal government to ensure that Oluojedokun, whatever the case might be, that, you know, they implement some decisions, a judgment. But that order is not given to UNILAG, you know, from that point of view. And of course, UNILAG goes about his business, you understand, from that point of view. So if UNILAG is not joined in the action, we're going to have problems, you know, from that point of view. People say principal agency relationship, but I say it doesn't really apply, because there are specific statutory responsibilities that the CBN has, and because that is enshrined in the Constitution and the Act, therefore the principal agency relationship typically, which should apply, doesn't really apply.
Some of us have said that this might be the best for the elections in a couple of days now. This particular adjournment would have been the best for the elections. What do you have to say about that, Prof?
Well, I don't know that it would have been the best, but I would have wanted and wished that the decision had been reached so that we know where we stand. But the people saying that it might be the best are those who suspect that political parties already have stash of old notes ready to be dispensed and to buy votes. Those are the ones saying that it's the best. And I think that if it's so, that there are lots of money, Naira's old notes, ready for the politicians to use, then of course this stops them from doing that. They can cry, they can shout, they can scream, but the reality of it is that they will not have access to those old notes, and they would not be able to use it to influence the election. At least that's what the government wants us to believe.
You don't feel it will have been a distraction in any shape or form for the elections if a particular judgment was reached and orders were given by the court?
Well, first and foremost, the court doesn't have a responsibility for regulating or for being involved in issues to do with money, monetary policy and so on. That's an economic policy, and that should be the role of government. If the court had got involved, if the court had made a decision one way or the other, particularly if the court had said, we have to be very careful here, if the court had given a decision which wasn't too favorable in terms of the economic climate, then we could have had more confusion, we could have had more anarchy. And I think the court has been safe to stay above the fray for now. Right. So that we do not have more anarchy. Can you imagine, people getting confused? You're not accepting my old Naira note, and fights breaking out and all kinds of things going on.
So that's the main issue. We move on to another story. Address fuel Naira scarcity before elections, ECOWAS tells Buhari. Now, the Economic Community of West Africa Observer Mission They've implored the federal government to be proactive in addressing the fuel and cash scarcity right now. Before the 25th of February, just in 2 days' time, how much can be done?
First and foremost, I find that laughable that ECOWAS is not minding its own business, and ECOWAS is trying to tell a sovereign country, Nigeria, on how to run their affairs. I think I question that entirely. But of course, it's not feasible for anything to be done in the next 2 days. This government is increasingly becoming lame duck. So it's not really feasible. But I think they can deal with the fundamentals. And the fundamentals, which might take a while, is that we have a lot of fuel farms, and they don't have petrol stations. Right. And many of this fuel is going across the border. So the best thing, or the best solution, is to ensure that the subsidy is removed, from that point of view. But it will be suicidal if they decide to remove the subsidy today. Right. What will be at the back of the mind of the people as they go to the ballot box will be subsidy has been removed. But we're suffering anyway, and we're not even getting it at the right price. So why don't we make a move towards that? So at least we can begin to look at the future in terms of supply of fuel.
They particularly mentioned insecurity. Do you think anything can be done as regards insecurity, addressing that before the elections?
Well, what's happening at the moment is that so many soldiers and contingent of policemen have been deployed around the country. So I think in terms of security, I think we should say that we'll be safer than we were before, because there will be visibility, but also restriction of movement. I heard there will be some restrictions of movement. So that will curtail at least some criminality and some instability.
All right, it's 2 days to the election. Ballot papers have started arriving in various quarters in the country. Every headline in the dailies is majored in part or in full about the election. Do you firstly feel a relief that the election is set to hold, as against the fear we had last week, lurking that the election might not hold?
First and foremost, let me just make it clear that I never had any doubts that this election will hold or not, but many people did. There's relief that we're going to continue with our transition to another administration, and that it may not be as seamless as America or as seamless as the United Kingdom, but it's going to happen. And I think the bottlenecks are being they are being ironed out. Part of the issue, was that they will not have a lot of naira notes to pay the ancillary staff and those that make things work. But I think they've got over it. I think transfers and a number of things have happened. So I think INEC deserves a pat on the back for now. Whether they will deserve a pat on the back after Saturday is another matter entirely.
All right. Speaking of logistics and the INEC elections, we understand that INEC has commenced distribution of sensitive materials in certain states: Lagos, Benue, Ondo, Ekiti, and Osun, amongst some of the states there. What do you make of INEC's preparedness going into the elections on Saturday in terms of logistics and what have you?
First and foremost, I balk at this news coverage, not from us, but news coverage generally, where INEC should be discussing or INEC should be revealing whether materials have been delivered or not. I think what INEC needs to tell us is that elections will go ahead as scheduled and that things are going fine. But all these, readouts of various states, because I'm concerned that in some states, the mischievous elements, you understand, may be a spur to them to act. So yes, they've delivered these things. Let them just assure us that the logistics are in place, that I would get to my ballot, what do we call it, polling station, is that what we call it? Right. I would get there at 8 o'clock, I believe. I will be able to do my accreditation with BVAS, and I'll be able to vote. I think that's what people want to know, from that point of view. And we don't want horror stories and so on and so forth. So once we have that assurance, I think most Nigerians will calm down, and that there's security at the polling unit. We will calm down and we'll go about our business.
All right, this headline here says, history will speak more of my stewardship. This is coming from President Muhammadu Buhari, and he was saying that government is a continuum, and he desired that the unfinished business of his administration will find continuity and fulfillment in his successor, as he did to his predecessor. Now, this has become a recurring theme story with the president and his cabinet. It almost seems like a boast at this point that the president seems to have done well, and he's leaving such a track record behind. Is this a way of subtly telling us, when I leave, you all will understand that I tried my best?
First and foremost, that Jonathan said, when we were vilifying Jonathan, And when many people were saying Jonathan was the worst thing since sliced, well, not the worst thing since whatever, independence, Jonathan was saying that you will rue the day that you wish, and there will come a day you will wish I was still president, from that point of view. What I see in terms of what this president is doing is a journey of self-justification, self-consolation in many respects, because it's not living on the eye. It's living with a naira crisis, crunch. It's living with fuel scarcity. It's even living with even some parts of the country insecurity being unresolved. But you must give it to Mohamed Buhari that at least the kidnapping, which has plagued this country for years, has suddenly, declined, and at least is bringing some sense on order to our monetary policy, even with the suffering, the innumerable suffering that is encountered there. And you must also give it to him that infrastructure, in many respects, has been sorted out in many respects, not totally sorted out, So I think there's some pluses, and I think they deserve some pat on the back in some areas. But by and large, when you look at the old score sheet, I know they've scored themselves well. Most Nigerians will score them very, very badly. So let's see what history will say. Whether history is going to compare him to Jonathan, or history is going to say that he was a good president. And I'll be worried if Buhari comes out as the hero, you understand, and as somebody who did fantastically well, which means that the next government will be far worse.
All right, Prof, let's have you speak on this one. INEC silent over PVCs discovered in Inewi forest. Indigents locate owners is the headline out of the Punch newspapers this morning. Now, according to that particular story, the PVCs were discovered by a hunter on Tuesday, and that person took it to popular radio station in Newi and all of that. Are you concerned that INEC hasn't spoken about this or made any announcements as to what they make of that particular event?
Well, I'm concerned as to the monumental cock-up. That's what we use, monumental cock-up. It's complete and utter a disgrace. You understand that all set of a town, or I don't know where we call it a town, may have been disemphasized because somebody has been careless or deliberate or willful. And what do we expect INEC to say? Because INEC have really fouled this one up, whoever is responsible. Right. But what I also expect INEC to do is to ensure that the officers responsible are disciplined, you understand, and are dealt with. Because at the end of the day, this may affect the results in Anambra State. If a whole lot of people do not have the franchise is supposed to be our constitutional right and responsibility. And if we've done all what we need to do, left our work, done registration, gone to queue, and then they keep on saying you can't have your cards. Do you know the number of young people that I've come across who said we went to INEC twice or thrice and they told us go to the local government, we couldn't collect our cards? So I think it's unconscionable, and I think heads must roll for that situation. But having said that, these youths, I understand, are now trying to track and to trace the owners of this card so that at least they can exercise, their civic duty. And I think that's the good news that comes out of that.
Right. Again, still on this issue, Prof, INEC, are you concerned about the fact that up until now, correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't exactly had an announcement as to what the total number of voters is subsequent to the extension of the registration for PVCs and all of that? Still 2 days to elections.
You'd have expected they're supposed to publish this. We are supposed to know the number of PVCs and so on. I think they've gone to an extent to do that in the past. But I don't think we've had updated details. But I think what we need to know at this stage, you understand, is an indication of what the situation is. And INEC deserve to give us that because it allows people now to be able to compare and contrast. So I think INEC should do something about that. Maybe their hands are full. Maybe they're trying to pay the ancillary staff. I don't know what the issue is. But they deserve to give us this information. We want to have the freest, the fairest, and the most open elections that have been possible. And in order to do that, we need information. Not unnecessary information, but vital information, which assures us that INEC is on top of their game and they know what they're doing.
All right, to this story, Naira scarcity. We're investigating some governors. IGP, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Osman Alkali, on Wednesday insisted that the police are investigating some governors and individuals whose utterances are considered to have incited riots over the Naira redesign policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, he also said that those found guilty will definitely be prosecuted. Some Nigerians have said nobody's going to get prosecuted. This one that you're saying is super story.
Well, they have immunity, so they're not going to get prosecuted now. The question remains, what happens after they leave office in the next 4 or 5 months? But the fact that they're being investigated will put the chills on some of this governor. It might even affect some of their behavior. And I hope that this so-called investigation is not just going to be put on the cooler, as many investigations have done, but that this police will pursue it. Let's deal with the cynics. Let's surprise the cynics and let's disappoint them, by getting at least some proper investigations, because some of these governors bear responsibility. There's a state, a particular state, and I'll mention the state, Ogun State, where in a town, Shegamu, most of the banks, or many of the banks, you understand, have been burnt out. And why were they burnt out? Because according to people, these old monies were being refused, were being rejected. And they were being rejected after they got assurance, you understand, from the authorities that this money remains the legal tender. So governors that have been saying that, you understand, are irresponsible. And if they've been doing that, you understand, then they must be able to account if the consequences have led to death, destruction, wanton destruction of property, peace, and instability. In any sane democracy, some of these governors, you understand, would have been put under watch by the DSN. Who knows whether that's what's happening already?
All right, Prof. Some violence in Enugu. We understand that the Labour Party senatorial candidates of Enugu East senatorial district, Professor Oyibo Chukwu, has been reportedly murdered. Now, this is coming 3 days to the elections, and we understand that he was apparently set ablaze with 3 other party members. Your reaction to this one, Prof?
First and foremost, that's quite horrendous. Of course, our commiserations, our condolences must go to the families concerned. But I think it's unconscionable, as I've used that word before. I think this is horrendous. I think it's despicable that violence should be the order of the day when we have elections. Of course, we've had violence there, but now candidates being targeted. Maybe that's why it's news. I'm sure this has been happening to ordinary individuals, but it doesn't even make it any more acceptable, from that point of view. I hope the police will be able to trace. I hope the police will be able to prosecute. And I hope other candidates will be kept safe. We need our candidates safe. We need our democracy protected. We cannot have this kind of violence. The people that exhibited or the people that demonstrated or took part in this violence do not belong to a sane society. Should be taken out of society, through the legal process, so that other people will learn from this and other people will know that the way you resolve your disputes is through the ballot box, through debate and through negotiation, not through violence, murder, and of course maimings.
A final headline before we go on a commercial break. Nigeria decides 2023. CBN denies plans to shut down banking services. Now, some things have been going around that the banking services will be shut down from today to Monday 27. And there was a tweet that said, go and stock your home. Anyhow, you can get money between today and tomorrow, get it and keep it. And the CBN has said we should be wary of fake news. Now, so much misinformation has been coming from that particular quarter, from bring your old news to the banks or bring it to the CBN. So how do we faction these tweets and the reality on ground?
So much rumor, so much fake news, so much innuendos. When I saw it, I knew it was utter baloney, you understand. Now, nobody's going to shut it down because of the incalculable damage it will do to the Nigerian economy. Even though damage is being done at the moment, but when you shut it down completely, how do we buy things? How do we do transfers? How do we, basic transactions? So already I knew it was mischief. And I think that's the ills of social media, that sometimes people use it, you understand, for all kinds of mischief from that point of view. How do we police it and how do we ensure that this doesn't happen? That the question is not the question I can answer, but the point that you made, you raised a question which I've lost in the midst of my analysis, which is
how do we faction all of this in?
Yes, yes. I think at the end of the day, we have to go to the authenticated sources and sources that are authentic rather than just rely on rumors. We saw it coming from some people, I'm sorry to say, in some instance related to some churches, you understand? They were passing it through on some of the church groups that I belong to. And I regret that I did not put a sock in it and tell them, come on, stop spreading all this kind of information. A lot of all this information is being spread to WhatsApp. Be very, 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 very careful, as to what you take out of Facebook and what you then put, not Facebook, sorry, WhatsApp, and then you then put on the social media. I think anything that doesn't come out of CBN, anything that doesn't come out of the federal government, disregard it.
All right, we go on that commercial break. When we come back, we'll open the phone lines to take your reactions. Stay tuned.
32 FM
94.9.
Guy, if I tell you all this plenty airtime and data, where they take flex? Now dash glow dash me, you go believe.
Dash get for this kind of economy. I beg you.
There now, as I buy my glow sim like this spirit, I first collect 1,000 naira welcome bonus, Sarah. As I come recharge, bam, glow knock me 10 times airtime bonus. I also enjoy double data. Join.
Wait, you mean 1,000 naira welcome bonus?
Yes.
Plus 10 times airtime bonus?
Yes.
Plus double data again?
Yes.
For which universe now?
The glow break the universe now. You want try?
Oh, mo, no wonder boys they flex anyhow on top phone 247 non-stop. Hey, I don't come.
My people, not let grass grow under your Lego. Go get your glow sim today. Dial *777# to buy and enjoy 10 times airtime bonus plus up to double data. Offer day for both new and existing subscribers them.
Glow Unlimited.
Kids Twisco to support their big dreams.
Twisco, power your dream.
Showmax and Jara Air, it's given. You can get 2 months for the price of one. Oh, whoa, it's given. It's given Real Housewife and Flossom Marathon with that bling bling and shakara.
Money is never in short supply.
It's given Big Brother Titanships, passports, and binge watching vibes. It's given what's supposed to be given and overdose. Oh yeah, subscribe now to get 2 months from 1,200 naira for a limited time only on Showmax. It's given Showmax. Sign up at showmax.com.
Make you say bye-bye to slow browsing speed and yama battery when you buy the INT'L A60 smartphone. E get high-speed 4G network. We go let you enjoy fast internet, 5,000 mAh big battery for long hours of enjoyment, and 32GB of memory. Make you just enjoy the use on the go. For just 1,000 naira, you go get 1.5GB and 3.5GB free data from Airtel when you buy the INT'L A60 and activate them with Airtel 4G SIM card. Make you SMS get to 141 to enjoy this package. INT'L. Enjoy better life.
32 FM 94.9.
All right, it's great to have you back with us. 32 FM 94.9. We're opening the phone lines on the Break It Down Paper Review. Let's have your thoughts, your reactions to the stories. 070-55,949, 080-97,949. Let's have your reactions this morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
All right, please turn down the volume on your radio when you call the radio station. Again, 070-55,949, 080-97,949. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. We can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Linda Mary calling from Abuja.
All right, please go on.
I love it when I am the minister, but I said after the meeting of what you have done, then I asked.
You need to call us back. It seems like you are in a place that is echoing. So if you can call us back so that we can get your feedback loud and clear. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, sir. I remember last week's presidential address. He told the nation that the Naira redesign has brought reduction in the money policy, and that will support the president on that very ground. But the untold hardship is bringing to Nigeria is what I am definitely against. The NIGP said they are investigating governor over this Naira design. Not only to investigate, but if there are grounds for their culpability, the destruction of private and government property by whom them as a result of their violent threats and inflammatory statements from these governors are we call agri. They should be brought to court when they are no longer a minute on their side. They directed their anger to the commercial bank instead of directing their anger at the central bank. Hence, their statement is capable of causing breach of the peace. That is why we face the recent attack of commercial banks. because of the statement credited to this governor. John Njoku is my name.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Ken.
Good morning.
Good morning.
DENIKE, good morning. Prof, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. DENIKE, I am one of those that called the prosecution and investigation of the governor's super story because I know actually nothing will come out of it. And Prof, for the Supreme Court not saying anything, I actually also agree with them. I'm in support of it. Probably when after this, then they should say something because for now, so that the nation will not boil. Any of the decisions might actually cause confusion. And lastly, I heard something yesterday that impressed me with a politician, the governor of this state. I heard in a debate they were doing, it was strange to hear him telling people not to do themselves because of politicians. I really was impressed. I have never, I repeat, heard from any politician say that. The man so impressed me, and he made a statement that his brother, he was in the shoe of his brother the other time, now his brother is in the other. I felt impressed. How I wish every Nigerian would actually listen to what he said and know that killing yourself over politicians is just a total waste. Good morning, this is okay.
All right, thank you, okay, for that. 0705 5949 and 0809 7949. Moving to Facebook, Miriam yesterday says, good morning. Here comes the time for the president to fulfill his promise of leaving a legacy of free, fair and credible election, because the coming election is the only opportunity to which Nigerians can rewrite their fate. And as such, I will urge the president and INEC officials to live up to expectations. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Calling from Apata.
All right, we can hear you now. Please go on.
All right. Yeah, I love when Mahmoud Buhari said, "You are going to take him after him leaving the office." Then I asked myself, those who have lost their lives, see the video of this Naira redesign in the banking premises because they wanted to correct just some free cards and the slump. The family ever remember Buhari for good? That's number one. And I want to tell the federal government to please ensure the safety of the youth cops, the coppers that are being used for this election. Please ensure that their life is safe and preserved. Ensure that their blood is not being shed for this country. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Hello,
you.
good morning.
Hello. Okay, Omotayo Oluwarotimi Onobamiru says Nigerians must ask themselves why they still behave in the most barbaric manner, why people assassinate themselves during elections, why we have fences all around our houses, how we use the police and the army during the elections as if we're in a jungle.
All right, take some more messages from Facebook. Tululokwe DME says, good morning. I think it's high time Nigerians put their mind away from the Supreme Court case on the cashless policy. Let's get back to the calls. Hello, good morning.
Hello,
good morning.
I'm Sheriff calling from Manara.
All right.
According to the COP member, I think INEC must try to make their lives to be safe. And those COP members also, they must try not to allow those politicians to intimidate them, to compromise with them, because according to what the INEC said, he said those COP members they are the one to be under the BVAS machine. So that means if anything happens to it, they're able to trace them and come and explain how everything goes on election day. About what the professor said, I think I personally listened to that debate yesterday. That shows that we, the Nigerians, especially the followers of the politicians, don't kill yourself on anyone. Because the governor said nobody is perfect as a human being like him. So if they do something, we the citizens, we need to call them to order to let them know where they did it right and where they tried their best, and we should expect good things from them. So that's my own take on it this morning. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. 070-55,949, 080-97,949. Those are the numbers to be a part of the conversation this morning. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning. Okay, Facebook, Omwade Adekunle said, we have tested the APC government for almost 8 years, but it is unfortunate that things are getting worse under their watch. Meanwhile, the situation of Nigeria would not have been this bad if the APC had successfully achieved building refineries, ensuring power supply, and ending insurgency. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
Yes, this is Miriam. I'm calling from Oregon.
All right.
See, as regards the cashless policy, expecting anything from the Supreme Court, to me, is like even a dead horse. Because the federal government that we know, they are known to flaunt court orders. And without making, the policy has further incurred more hardship on the masses. But this coming election is the only avenue to which we can change things for the better. And I pray the Lord will lead us right. Thank you. My name is Miriam.
All right, thank you. Hello, good morning. All right, do try and call back 070-55,949, 080-97,949. Hello there. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. We can hear you.
Okay, I'm Balkis Onodiran from Ibadan. Regarding the Supreme Court order, I think there might be some good verdicts that might actually benefit the poor people. But Nigerians should not put their minds to it. Because putting their minds to it is like expecting an elephant that can fly. So even if the court order comes out beneficial to the poor masses, Emefiele is not going to obey it, let alone President Muhammadu Buhari. They don't obey court order. So right now, I know a lot of people are frustrated. Whatever frustration they have, they should put it on their PVC and come out on mass on Saturday to vote for credible candidates, because this legacy of ineptitude must be discontinued at the federal level. May God help us in Nigeria. Balkis Onodiran from Ibadan.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Balkis, for that. 0705-500949 and 0809-700949. We're still taking your reactions in the studio, and you can call us. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Okay, let's wrap up with Facebook then. Okay, on Facebook we have other messages to take a look at. Let's look at this one. Motayo Uluwaritimi says it's only Nigeria I know where they would be doing elections and the police and the soldiers would be everywhere. Interesting.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
This is Alaba from Menele.
All right.
Please, I just want everybody to prepare our mind towards the next election. Because all these court issues we are talking about, governments and other things, as I used to say, they are mere scripts written by some people, and the actors are playing their role. Because we decided the third, by then the tension would have come down. We would have finished the presidential election. So it's not like a way of just delaying tactics to perpetrate their plans, their program.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the way we call it a wrap on the Break of Dawn paper review for today. Thank you very much, Professor Oluwajeruko. Thank you. My name is Kenny Turutilu.
DENIKE Ademwago. Do have a good day.
32 FM.
Ìkànnì Adẹ́rìn-Pòṣónú.
32 FM. The Pioneer Joy Station.
32 FM.
The station admired by other radio stations. 32 FM.
One tagline is never enough. 32 FM 94.9. Filling the world with laughter.
Are you ready?